Hi all, and welcome back to the channel. This is Hell is Us. In this video, I want to focus on what the game is and what you can expect. I'll keep my own opinion for a later video. I always try to split these out, and with a game that will have as many split opinions as this one, I think that's even more important. In this video, I'll cover the combat, the lack of hand-holding, the puzzles, and the story and world building. As always, I want to do this without wasting your time with needless filler. So let's start with what it is. Hell is Us is a semi-open world action-adventure game with some light RPG elements. It's not a Souls-like game, and let's actually start there. You fight with either a one-handed sword, a two-handed sword, an axe, or a spear against supernatural creatures. The combat feels deliberate, but it's not crushingly hard. You still manage stamina, time your blocks and parries, and on top of that, your health is tied to stamina. The less health you have, the less energy you've got to swing or dodge. I know, it still just sounds like an easier Souls-like, but it's really not. The difference is in the tools you get to play with. Weapons can be socketed with glyphs, like Rage Spike, a ranged explosive attack, or Wave of Wrath, which bursts spikes from the ground. Relics let you do things like banish hazes or give yourself brief invulnerability. And your drone modules can stun enemies or even launch you forward for a crushing aerial strike. So instead of every fight being a test of perfect timing and precision, the game leans into variety and unusual interactions. Souls-likes are built around a tight, balanced combat loop. Here, it's more about mixing these systems and seeing which approach works in each encounter. We get so few action-adventures these days that I almost forgot what that feels like. Now, let's talk about the lack of hand-holding.
Yes, you have to think about where you go next and what you do. There's no map, no quest markers, nothing. You need to listen to quests. An NPC might just tell you to go west and give a clue like look for a house of a certain color, and that's all you get. That does mean you'll do a fair amount of backtracking when you miss something, but this is balanced by the fact that the world is quite dense. You might not always find what you're looking for, but you'll come across other items that can help later, or other quests you can complete. Because of this, you get a sense of constant progression. That said, this is why I said there will be split opinions. This design, just like with the puzzles, isn't inherently good or bad. Some people will love it, and others will hate it. Let me give one more example. Early on, you find a door with two clear locks. You already have the first key item, but the second you won't find until much later. At that point, you'll need to actually remember that this door and its lock existed. There's nothing that will remind you to go back. Next, I want to quickly touch on the puzzles. Just like the lack of hand-holding, everything is designed around needing to think. For example, early on there's a puzzle where you need to place 3 emblems in the right sequence. I found Serpent, Fire, and Tower, tried both possible orders, and nothing worked. Then I realized the answer was in the story text. You had to place them in the order they were described there. Another case where if you don't read or think, it won't click. The whole game is full of things like that.
Last is the story and world building. The game is set in a fictional country torn apart by civil war, cut off from the outside world. You play as a soldier returning to his homeland after years abroad, only to find it overrun by supernatural beings called the Hazes. These creatures are tied to deep emotions like grief, rage, and terror, blending personal trauma with the violence around you. The story deliberately avoids real-world references, instead using this ruined land as a symbolic backdrop about human conflict and inner demons. It is very direct, though. It doesn't shy away. You'll find mass graves and hard personal scenes about war crimes that can be difficult to look at. They don't hold back, and I'll leave it at that for now. So, to wrap it up, Hell is Us is a semi-open world action-adventure that mixes deliberate stamina-based combat with experimental tools, pushes you to think without quest markers, fills its world with puzzles that actually make you stop and read, and tells a heavy story about war and trauma through its setting. It's not a Souls-like, even though it shares some surface mechanics. It's more about variety, exploration, and symbolism. That's everything you need to know for now. If you like videos that don't waste your time, please consider liking and subscribing. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.